He spoke with such wisdom yesterday, didn't he?
Yes, my heart feels lighter with every word he shares.
Imagine the world Jesus walked into: dusty roads, crowded marketplaces, rigid traditions, and strict boundaries about who mattered and who did not. In that world, women were often expected to stay silent, unseen, and on the edges of spiritual life. Yet wherever Jesus went, women were there, not hidden, not ignored, but seen, valued, and transformed. Among the first was Mary, the mother of Jesus, a young woman from Nazareth, chosen for a calling that would change history. When the angel spoke to her, Mary did not fully understand the road ahead, but she trusted God anyway. She carried Jesus in her womb, raised him in obscurity, and watched his ministry unfold. She treasured moments in her heart, the miracles, the teachings, the growing tension. And when the crowds faded and the disciples scattered, Mary remained. She stood near the cross, witnessing suffering no mother should ever have to see. Her faith was not loud, but it endured. Then there was Mary Magdalene, a woman whose life had once been marked by deep pain and darkness. When Jesus healed her, everything changed. She became one of his most devoted followers. She traveled with him, supported his ministry, and stayed when others fled. Early one morning, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb, not expecting a miracle, but driven by love. And it was to her that the risen Jesus first appeared. She became the first witness of the resurrection, entrusted with the greatest announcement the world has ever heard. He is alive. In Bethany lived two sisters, Mary and Martha, whose home became a place of rest for Jesus. Martha was practical, hardworking, and responsible. She believed deeply, even when grief overwhelmed her. When her brother Lazarus died, Martha met Jesus with both faith and questions. She declared her belief in him even before seeing the miracle. Her faith was real, honest, and growing. Mary of Bethany was different. She listened more than she spoke.
Yes, my heart
She sat at
feels
Jesus'
lighter
feet,
with every
absorbing
word he
his words
shares.
while others rushed around her. When Lazarus died, Mary fell at Jesus' feet and wept. Her grief was raw, and her faith was personal. Later, she performed an act that shocked everyone. She poured expensive perfume on Jesus' feet and wiped them with her hair. It was worship without restraint, love without calculation. While others criticized her, Jesus defended her, calling her act beautiful and meaningful. One afternoon, at a well in Samaria, Jesus met a woman whose life had been shaped by rejection. She came alone, at an hour when no one else would be there. Society had labeled her and moved on. But Jesus stopped. He spoke to her. He knew her story, and still offered her living water. He did not shame her, he restored her dignity. That woman ran back to her village and told everyone what had happened. She became an unlikely messenger, leading others to encounter Jesus for themselves. There were also women like Joanna and Susanna, followers whose names are mentioned briefly, yet whose impact was profound.
I've brought the water.
They supported Jesus
must
and
see
his
to the meal
disciples
now,
with their own
as there is
resources.
still much to
They
be done.
believed in his mission and helped sustain it.
Everyone
Their
who drinks
faith
this
wasn't
water will be
dramatic,
thirsty
but it was
again.
faithful.
Sir,
They remind us that not
give me
all
this
devotion
water,
is public.
so that I will
Some of
not
the
be
most
thirsty.
important acts happen quietly. When Jesus was arrested and crucified, it was women who remained near the cross. While fear scattered many, they stayed. They watched. They mourned. After his death, they prepared spices and returned to the tomb, not expecting resurrection, but determined to honor him even in death. And when the tomb was found empty, it was women who carried the message that death had been defeated. These women were not powerful by the world's standards. They were not rulers or scholars. But Jesus welcomed them as disciples, trusted them as witnesses, and honored them as carriers of truth. Through them, we see a picture of faith that is courageous, honest, and deeply personal. The women who lived around Jesus show us that God's kingdom is not built on status or strength, but on surrender, love, and faithfulness. They remind us that being close to Jesus is not about position. It is about presence. And that sometimes, the quietest voices carry the loudest truths.